You can't scare me, you might say, but be careful what you wish for, because going into the Goosebumps movie with that kind of attitude could land you in some deep trouble. Book title references. That's right, Goosebumps is a 2015 American movie which has come out here in the UK on February 5th, 2016. It's a comedy horror movie in the same vein as, I would describe it like this, it's Gremlins meets Jumanji, gets a little bit drunk and has a baby. Goosebumps. If, like myself, you grew up in the 90s, you know Goosebumps. If you grew up in the 80s, teenage you knew Goosebumps. And if you grew up in the early 2000s, and apparently if you're like sort of still quite young now, or you have young kids, young brothers and sisters, it's in the school curriculum. Some schools are using this as a reading tool or an option in the reading library for English lessons. Excellent work. The Goosebumps series of books are a hugely popular anthology, I suppose. Every book is a different story, although some of them are sequels, by R.L. Stine, a fantastic author who has created loads of horror-based things for kids and young adults over the years. But Goosebumps is still, to this day, his most notable and his most notorious. As perfectly described by the character of Champ in this movie, Goosebumps aren't kids' books. Kids' books put you to sleep at night. Goosebumps keep you awake. So if you want something, obviously, as a kid to get your monster blood boiling, then these are the books for you. And the movie adaptation stays very true to the tone, but at the same time doesn't stick necessarily to what you would expect its formula to be. The plot of the movie is this. They don't pick from any one specific book. It's an original story. Zach and his mum have recently moved to a new city because his mum's got a new job as a vice principal at Zach's school, and he's not happy. He's away from where he's grown up all his life. He's used to live in New York. His father's recently passed away and he's just getting over that. But luckily he meets a cute girl next door, Hannah. She's adorable. She's a really sweet person. They click, they get along really well. One problem, her dad, Mr. Shivers, don't want none of that. He ain't a fan. He says, stay away from my girl, stay away from me, stay away from the house. So Zach takes the hint. He meets Champ at high school, who's a lad who's mostly driven by his urge to date girls and his desperate need for a friend. He's a goofball and he's played pitch perfectly. That part could have been terrible. It really wasn't. Guy did good. And the two of them become friends. One night it seems like Hannah is being either attacked or locked away in a room by her dad. So Zach busts into the house to try and rescue her, only to find that not only is she fine, but her father's study is full of the original manuscript of the Goosebumps series. We're talking black leather-bound copies, title on the front, and a padlock on every single one. So out of curiosity, the lads grab the key from the desk and open up The Abominable Snowman of Pasadena. Next thing you know, boom! This thing has burst out of the book itself. The Abominable Snowman is there in the house. It is angry. It is salivating. It's got big old teeth. It looks like it's having a bad hair day, and it is pissed. A chase ensues to get it back in its book. Hannah says that's the only way to contain her father's stories. Her father? That's right. Turns out Hannah's dad is R.L. Stine himself, and after an unfortunate mishap leads to Slappy the Dummy escaping his book, monsters are let loose on the small town. So you see what I'm saying about Gremlins meets Jumanji? It's very much a small town being attacked by lots of different creatures, so it's like being overrun with monkeys or gremlins and stuff. It's just that brilliant. What's really nice about this movie is that the whole premise of it means that newcomers get to learn about these books and these interesting monsters, and old school fans like myself get the nostalgia kick of seeing your childhood nightmares on the screen in a safe way, in a safe environment, but it's still freaky. It brings back a lot of stuff. And when I say monsters, we're talking so many monsters from the books. You've got Dr. Brewer's plants from Stay Out of the Basement, Prince Koru from Revenge of the Mummy, Will Blake from The Werewolf of Fever Swamp, the Lawn Gnomes from Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes make many appearances and are much freakier than you ever would have imagined. The giant praying mantis from the front cover of A Shocker on Shock Street appears, the Pumpkinhead from Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns, Fifi the Poodle from Please Don't Feed the Vampire, the bug-eyed aliens from Invasion of the Body Squeezers, the title creatures from Attack of the Graveyard Ghouls, Murder the Clown from A Nightmare on Clown Street, and of course Slappy from Night of the Living Dummy, Night of the Living Dummy 2, Night of the Living Dummy 3, Bride of the Living Dummy, Slappy's Nightmare, Slappy New Year, even a lot of books. Which I found really weird. This is a nitpick. The villain of the book, Night of the Living Dummy, spoiler alert for like a 25-year-old book, is Mr. Wood. Slappy just appears in it at the end, but whatever, I suppose that would take a lot of explaining in the film and kind of slow the narrative down. The creatures are a nice mix of practical effects and CGI animation, and luckily, for the most part, it works really well. There's a couple of shots of the werewolf in the supermarket set piece that just look a little ropey, but other than that, they sold a giant praying mantis chasing a car down the street to me. I was down with that. I was fine with it. It looked real. The cast do an absolutely stellar job. Ryan Lee as Champ, the sidekick, wacky comic relief guy, should have been irritating. He wasn't. He was perfectly pitched. Odeya Rush as Hannah is brilliant. She's the neighbour that she's the perfect girl next door character. There'll be lots of young lads and girls who go to watch this film who are like, yeah, that's like the neighbour I fancy. Dylan Minnette as Zach, the main character. If this guy isn't at Chris Pratt levels of roles, Chris Pratt level of parts and stuff in the next few years, I'll be surprised. He is a charisma machine. Like, he's brilliant, very dry, very funny, damn good looking, which doesn't hurt. Good luck to you, mate. If this is like your sort of film debut as a lead, keep aiming up. Keep climbing that ladder, Dylan. You did good. And of course, Jack Black as Mr. Shivers himself, R.L. Stein, who also, for the record, voices the Invisible Boy from My Best Friend is Invisible, and Slappy the Dummy. He does a fantastic job at Slappy, actually. Something that always really annoyed me in the TV series. The Slappy from TV is the one everybody remembers, but he sort of spoke like this, "You'll be my slave," and all that. That was never Slappy's voice. You read the original Night of the Living Dummy, it ends with saying when he speaks for the first time, he speaks with a low growl. And I really like that because Jack Black does it. His Slappy sort of sounds like this. And it's like, yeah, you do. Creepy. All those childhood nightmares flooding back. Rob Letterman, the director... Did you hear that? Must be the ghost next door. Rob Letterman, the director, had previously worked with Jack Black on the DreamWorks movie Shark Tale, and also Gulliver's Travels. But the beauty of this is, third time really is the charm. This one is the one where they've gelled the most together and they have made something pretty damn cool. Goosebumps is very frenetic. It keeps going, which means that it suffers a couple of times. Only a couple of the monsters really get a set piece. The werewolf and the abominable snowman. And they kind of feel rushed almost. The abominable snowman gets room to breathe, and his introduction at sort of the end of the first act of the movie is really, really cool. But no one really gets a moment. Slappy, for example, is the main villain, and he doesn't get a scene. There's a bit toward the end where he sort of gets to shine a bit more, but he doesn't get like the creepy... There's no Heath Ledger stood on the snooker table telling the story of his scars. Do you know what I mean? There isn't a moment like that. And I think that does make the film suffer somewhat. It's 108 minutes long, but it feels much shorter, and I mean, some say that's a good thing, but I think you should have had a bit more time with each of the characters, and let some of the more emotional bits breathe. Because after that first half hour, which is a lot of build-up and expertly done, it's just like pow, 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 pow. But all in all, if you've got younger brothers and sisters, or you've got a kid who likes monster stuff, but you think they're a bit too young to handle, you know, scarier movies, this is the perfect induction for them. It's a damn fine film. It's really faithful to the books where it can be. It throws in mentions to books that don't get covered. Like Monster Blood has nothing to do with this film, but it gets a mention. In the scene where you first see all the monsters together in one place later in the movie, as they are moving toward the school, there is a blink and you'll miss it, and I mean really pay attention, blink and you miss it appearance of the girl wearing the haunted mask. She's just skipping along, she's got a big green scary head. So yeah, look out for her. Kids and families are going to have a great time with this movie. Newcomers to Goosebumps are going to be able to grasp it quite quickly, and I think they'll finish watching this film going, oh wow, what was that monster from? I want to read that. Or where did that creature come from? I want to see that episode of the TV show, which is on Netflix in its entirety, and has just got a new re-release as well to coincide with the movie coming out. So if you've never seen the TV show, it is cheesy and it is fun and you'll love it. And as far as nostalgic factor goes, which is what I was looking out for because I'm a massive geek, obviously, I was satisfied. I was checking off monsters as I saw them appear. There are some books that get mentions, not so much appearances. I mean, one of the key parts of the plot, one of the key things, is actually taken from the story The Blob That Ate Everyone, which I didn't realise till afterwards. I was like, oh yeah, that's where that's from. Okay. And just like every good Goosebumps book, and in the words of R.L. Stein in this movie, every good story has a beginning, a middle, and a twist. So don't go anywhere before those credits have rolled. you watch that movie till the end. Overall, I don't think Goosebumps is a masterpiece. However, it is the perfect stepping stone for younger film goers to get to the bigger pond of things like Gremlins and everything, and like creature features and Monster Squad and stuff like that. This is like a soft entry with enough genuine scares to make it worthwhile, but a soft enough approach to not put young viewers off these kind of movies from the get-go. I give Goosebumps a rock solid 3 stars. 3 out of 5 stars. That's not a bad score. That's 6 out of 10. It's a damn good score. It just feels like if it had let itself breathe a bit more, we would have something a little more special. But I had a great time, and hopefully you will too. Now, the more observant among you may have noticed this. Because I've got a competition going here, baby. Oh, yes! This is the complete first series of Goosebumps Horrorland. It's a series of books that are interconnected. They are brand new stories, but there is also an extra bit in each book with an ongoing story featuring the characters and monsters from these. So this set includes Revenge of the Living Dummy, Creep from the Deep, Monster Blood for Breakfast, The Scream of the Haunted Mask, Dr. Maniac vs. Robbie Schwartz, Who's Your Mummy, My Friends Call Me Monster, Say Cheese and Die Screaming, Welcome to Camp Slither, and Help! We Have Strange Powers! And this is the complete set of the 10 books that make up the first series. This is yours to be won. How? Well, it's very simple. Ignoring the titles I just read out from this, how many Goosebumps books did I mention in this video? I want a number, and I want them listed. Good luck, because I snuck a few much more subtle ones in here than you may have realised. You've got a week to get your submissions in, down in the comments section below. Let me know, and they're either the first person to get it right, or the only person to get it right, will win these books. I will send you these Goosebumps books that retail, by the way, 50 quid. You're getting them for free. You're getting them for free if you get all the titles. Every Goosebumps title I mentioned, other than those 10. Get down there and get entering. That's it from me this week, and if you... Sorry, one sec. I'll put that down there. What does it say? Karu Marie O'Donnell. Loma Molonu Karana. Why do I know? The dummy! Who are you calling dummy? Dummy? Oh, sorry about that. Oh, I don't know what happened there.
Thanks for watching, please come again. If you subscribe, I'll be your friend. But not really, 'cause that'd be weird.